What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central. On today's episode, we will be previewing the Chicago Bulls game against the Orlando Magic. But for the most part of this video, we're going to be talking about the Bulls' recent struggles in the last couple of games, and also a surprising trend in which the Chicago Bulls are really getting beaten in the third quarter by a pretty large margin in the last handful of games. We'll talk about all that, probably some more, right after this. Okay, so I'm going to start this video off with first talking about, and I should say this episode because there are a lot of listeners also on the podcast side. I don't want to make you guys feel like you're missing out on anything if you're not watching the YouTube video. It's the same content. But with that being said, I do want to talk about something. So I have been doing more live streams after games. I won't be able to do one after tonight's game or any games on this weekend because I'll be out of town. But one of the things that I do that happened in the last live stream is that somebody pointed out that the Bulls have been having bad third quarters. It wasn't anything that I had paid attention to myself, right? I didn't like look at the trend of third quarter scoring from the Chicago Bulls. But once somebody left that comment in one of the live streams, I was like, okay, I'm probably going to talk about that on the video if I'm noticing that being a trend in the stats. And out of the Bulls' last 6 games, they've only won the third quarter one time. That's even in victories, that's even in losses. I'm sorry, 2 times. So 2 out of the last 6 games, because I also won the third quarter against the Lakers. They've only won that 2 out of the 6 games. Now they've won more than that, but that trend is surprising. And when they do lose the third quarters, they're losing them by almost a double-digit margin. So when we talk about the Bulls blowing big leads or getting out to deficits when they shouldn't have, that's really a key factor when you look at it. And what that means and what that says to me is that the Bulls the opposing teams are making adjustments to what the Bulls are doing, and the Bulls aren't really making any type of adjustments to keep their lead or whatever else going after halftime. And that is concerning for a couple of different reasons. A, the better coaches, the better competition that you face are absolutely going to make adjustments throughout the game, but especially at halftime. What are we doing, or what's happening with our coaching staff that the Bulls are not making adjustments? Even if you're in the lead, you still need to make some adjustments when you see what the team is doing, and maybe that's not happening for the Bulls. We talk about isolation ball. We talk about the ball movement not being what it once was. All of that really, when you think about it, can paint that picture of why the Bulls are getting these bad third quarters and then having to battle back in the fourth quarter like they do so oftenly. It's just something I want to know what you guys feel about it. That to me is a really big, scary stat and scary trend to me, because like I said, like the way that I like to talk and I like to evaluate the Chicago Bulls are based off the playoffs, right? Based off a team that is a playoff bound team and has aspirations for more. When you get into the playoffs and all the team has to do is focus on you, and it's a game and series of adjustments and adjustments to adjustments, and trying to pick up or make better matchups for yourself, or pick on favorable matchups for yourself, like all of that, it's concerning. And I have said, and I do think Billy Donovan is a really good coach. I am not one who really is down on his coaching overall, but I know some Bulls fans that are. And a stat like that, I'm not going to say makes that argument, right? But it makes you kind of, or it should make you kind of understand why some people and some fans of this team critique the team in the way that they do, and they evaluate the coaching in the way that they do, and they have an issue with Billy Donovan's coaching. We know about the rotations, right? I've given him a reprieve and a caveat for rotations because we don't have the roster that we haven't had the full complement of players that we expected to have coming into the season. Pac Will is out for the season. Vooch was out for so long. So all of that combined, I'm not as down on Billy Donovan's rotations as some people are. I understand why they are, especially when you have a player like Haize Johnson who just really can't crack the rotation. Troy Brown Jr. played himself out of the rotation, so I don't have any issue with Troy Brown Jr. not getting minutes. But when you look at some of that, it just brings it all back to like, okay, how is this team going to continue to improve and continue to make themselves better? Because it's a long NBA season. This is a new team. As more teams get more tape on this team and figure out what they're trying to do, especially if it's going to be isolation ball, we may be in store for a lot more difficult third quarters than what we have. Now, I really only specifically looked at those last 6 games. I didn't want to like go further than that. But for example, I just went into that Clippers game, a game that we won. We lost the third quarter on that. So again, that means that 5 out of 7 games at this point now, the Bulls have have lost the third quarter. This stuff is concerning. Like I said, I don't want to make I don't want to I don't want to false alarm anybody or act like the sky is falling at all. But we do have to be honest in the way that we look at the team. And then the game before the Clippers game was the Golden State game. I know we probably lost the third quarter in that. So that then moves to 6 out of 8 games that the third quarter we have lost by an average of almost double digits. Let me know down below what you think about that stat. If you think maybe that I'm making too much of it because the Bulls have won more games than they lost, let me know what you guys think. Like I said, I just think as the season goes along and more teams figure us out and other teams just play better and they have great coaches, that it could become more difficult. But let me know what you think down below. So one thing that I do want to talk about, and I did do it after game live show, so I'm not going to stick on it too much because we got into it's our live streams are great. Like if you have not watched a Chicago Bulls Central live stream afterwards, and it's not because of me, because the viewers that we have there that live comment and everything are on it, and it's a great conversation between Bulls fans, and that's why I wanted it to be. But the last 2 games have sucked, right? They've sucked. Getting blown out by the Pacers, losing a game against the Rockets, both teams that we should have beaten. And we have Orlando coming up, another team that we should project to beat pretty easily. But at this point now, can we still give the Bulls that benefit of a doubt that they're going to be able to pull it? I can't. I personally can't. If you can, more power to you. Again, I'm not one of those the sky is falling type fans. I don't think that it's like our season's lost or anything like that, but I do think the Bulls need to respond in a way to show their dominance once again if they're going to pull this all together. I do think the Bulls need to show up and show the fuck out. That's period. I'm thinking this game now, in the last few games, the things that have been concerning is the lack of ball movement, right? We started off the season with a team that the ball moves so freely around, but we're also not converting turnovers to points like we were early on in the season as well. Some of that energy's gone. And I get it. I know we had a long West Coast trip, had a back-to-back, and everything else, but the Bulls need to figure it out. And I, for one, in this game coming up, need to see my Bulls come out with a refocused strategy built around ball movement, getting everybody involved. And that's not to say that there aren't going to be times where isolation ball works for us. There's not going to be times where DeMar DeRozan needs to just do his thing to get to the line and to get us back. Those are needed things, but this way that we're facing adversity with iso ball, it's not going to work. That makes us easier to guard, and the Bulls need to fix that aspect of their game. Also, how are the Bulls going to be officiated? We've seen last, again, handful of games, the officiating toward has been unfavorable to the Bulls. And I know there's probably 1,000 other teams and fans that are going to say the same thing, but really, like that 3-point play with Lonzo Ball that they took away is like, that was the perfect, just, if you're going to show one play to show how the officiating has gone for the Bulls, that's the one that you would show. It's among some others as well, but the officiating as well. The Bulls, I don't know what happened. I don't know what the refs are doing. Somebody said in the live stream too, watch the spreads and how the refs are affecting that. I'm a conspiracy theorist, so I'm not against that line of thought either. But watching that, and if that continues, if this continues to be a trend over the course of the season where the Bulls aren't getting calls, the thing is that when the Bulls don't get called, Zach LaVine specifically, it gets in his head some. We start seeing him get frustrated, then we start seeing him not play as smoothly as what he does. The Bulls, if officiating isn't going our way, we need to see them have more resolve and not let it get in their mind as much as a team. Again, that's not to excuse bad officiating or anything like that, but at the end of the day, you got to respond in the only way that you can, and by playing better, smarter basketball. Now, a lot of the ticky-tack fouls, yes, some of those are just going to be. But if the Bulls play better, those ticky-tack fouls should not change the outlook of the game as much. At least I would think. But game coming up against Orlando, like I said, I expect Wendell Carter to try to have a big game. Whether he's successful with that or not remains to be seen with how the Bulls guard them. Bulls defense as well. We need to get back to that swarming type defense that we do, where we're just all over loose balls. Because, offensive rebounding isn't our thing. So instead of what early in the season, instead of the efficiency, right? The efficiency with offensive rebounding, and that's in the advanced stats. Instead of that, we had high turnovers that we converted into points and the easy transition points for the team. We need to get that back. And a lot of other things. So let me know down below what you guys think about this game tonight. I do apologize that I'm not going to be able to have a video for a couple of days. But like I said, I'll be back Monday. We'll recap everything that I missed up until that point. And it'll be like a mega video. I'll try to keep it short because I know you guys tend to like the 8 to 10 minute videos rather than the longer videos. So we'll do that as well. Like I said, let me know what you guys think down below about the game upcoming. What do you think about the trend that it seems like it's forming about the Bulls having bad third quarters? And who do you blame for that? Do you blame coaching? Do you blame the player some? Is it a mix between the two? Let me know what you guys think about all that down below. Like I like to end every video on. I love you guys. Go Bulls. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.